The city was a place of shadows. Buildings stretched high, but the sun rarely reached the streets below. Poverty clung to the air as thick as the smog. This was Leo's world. He knew little else. Leo lived with his family in a cramped, rundown apartment. Hope was a luxury they could ill afford. Each day was a struggle for survival. Yet, within Leo, a spark flickered, a yearning for something more. One afternoon, rummaging through a discarded pile of belongings, Leo found a treasure. It was an old, dusty guitar. The wood was scratched, the strings rusty, but in its worn form, Leo saw a promise. He carefully carried the guitar home, clutching it as a beacon of hope. In the quiet solitude of his room, Leo embarked on a journey fueled by the desire to make the old guitar sing, a journey to find his voice. The guitar was more than just an instrument. To Leo, it was a confidant, a companion. Its strings, though rusty, held the promise of untold melodies. With calloused fingers, he began to teach himself. He had no tutor, no guide, only the echoes of music he'd heard drifting from open doorways. The rhythm of the city became his teacher, the struggles of his life, his melody. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Frustration often shadowed Leo's efforts. His fingers bled, the chords refused to ring true, but he persevered. Each note, no matter how shaky, was a victory. Each chord, a testament to his unwavering spirit. Leo poured his heart into the guitar, and slowly it began to sing back to him. His music, raw and untamed, began to fill the small room. Music became Leo's sanctuary. It was an escape from the harsh realities of his life. In the melodies he coaxed from the old guitar, he found solace. He found strength. He found hope. The music spilled out from his room, flowing through the hallways of the building. It reached the ears of his neighbors, their lives as burdened as his own. The music offered them a moment of respite. They would gather outside his door, listening, their faces etched with hardship softened. Their eyes, dulled by despair, flickered with a forgotten light. In Leo's music, they found a reflection of their own struggles, their own dreams. Leo, once lost in the shadows of the city, had become a beacon of hope. His music, born from pain and struggle, had the power to uplift their spirits. He played for them, for himself, for a future he dared to dream of. The city's subway system, a labyrinth of tunnels beneath the bustling streets, became Leo's stage. The echoing corridors, usually filled with the hurried footsteps of strangers, resonated with his music. He chose a corner, the dim light casting long shadows that danced with his strumming. The old guitar, once discarded, now sang with a soulful voice. Passers-by, initially indifferent, paused. The music, raw and powerful, cut through the cacophony of the underground. It was the sound of resilience, of hope blooming in the darkness. People stopped, their faces reflecting a mixture of surprise and captivation. Coins began to collect in the open guitar case at Leo's feet. But the real reward was the attention, the way the music resonated with strangers, creating a moment of connection in the heart of the city. Leo had found his audience. One evening, as Leo played, lost in his music, a man paused. He wasn't like the usual passers-by. This man was older, his eyes holding a shrewdness that spoke of experience. This was Thomas, a record producer, whose heart was weary of manufactured music. He longed for authenticity, for a voice that spoke of truth. Leo's music, raw and untamed, struck a chord within him. Thomas listened intently, his gaze never leaving Leo. He heard the pain, the struggle, but also the indomitable spirit woven into the music. When the last note faded, Thomas approached Leo, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "You have a gift," Thomas said, his voice gruff yet kind. "A gift that deserves to be heard by the world." Leo, taken aback, could only stare. This encounter, a chance meeting in the heart of the city, was about to change his life forever. Leaving the familiarity of the subway tunnels for the sleek, intimidating world of recording studios was a jarring experience for Leo. The producer, Thomas, though kind, was a demanding taskmaster. Gone were the echoing corridors and the captivated faces of strangers. Now Leo faced cold, sterile walls and the scrutiny of sound engineers. The pressure to capture the raw emotion of his music in a controlled environment was immense. His days were filled with rehearsals, songwriting sessions, and endless takes. He missed the freedom of the subway, the connection with his audience. Doubt crept in. Was he losing himself in the pursuit of success? Thomas, sensing Leo's unease, pulled him aside. "The path to your dreams is never easy," he said, his voice firm yet understanding. "But never forget the fire that burns within you. That fire is your music." His words were a lifeline, reminding Leo why he started this journey in the first place. The recording studio became a battleground. Leo struggled to reconcile his raw experiences with polished music production. He felt like a caged bird, his music losing its soul. He longed for the freedom of the subway and the energy of the crowd. In frustration, he pushed away the sheet music. He closed his eyes, picturing the subway crowd. And then, he played. The music flowed from his soul. The sound engineers were stunned. The music, raw and powerful, filled the studio. It was Leo, unfiltered and true. Thomas nodded, a slow smile spreading across his face. "That's it," he whispered. The album was titled Echoes from the Depths. It was a testament to Leo's journey, a reflection of his experiences in the city's shadows. The music, raw and honest, resonated with listeners. The first single hit the airwaves, and the response was overwhelming. People connected with the authenticity, the vulnerability in Leo's voice. His music became an anthem for the downtrodden, the forgotten, the dreamers. Echoes from the Depths climbed the charts, surprising even the most seasoned critics. It wasn't just music, it was a story, a voice that spoke for a generation struggling to find its footing. Leo's face, once only seen by those who ventured into the subway, was now on magazine covers, on television screens. He had become an overnight sensation, his music a beacon of hope for millions. Awards followed, recognition poured in. Leo's life had taken an unimaginable turn. He had gone from the shadows of the city to the blinding spotlight of fame. Yet through it all, he remained grounded. He used his newfound platform to shine a light on the struggles he had witnessed, the poverty he had escaped. He became an advocate for the arts, encouraging young people to find their voice, to tell their stories. He established a foundation, funding music programs in underprivileged communities. He believed that everyone deserved access to the transformative power of music, the way it could heal and inspire. His success was a testament to the power of perseverance, of raw talent nurtured by unwavering belief. But for Leo, the greatest reward was the ability to use his music to make a difference, to give back to the community that had given him so much. Despite the whirlwind of success, Leo never forgot where he came from. The city, once a symbol of struggle, was now a reminder of his journey, his triumph. One evening, after a sold-out concert, Leo slipped away from the entourage, the clamoring fans, the flashing cameras. He found himself drawn back to the familiar labyrinth of the subway. He stood in the same spot where it all began. The dim light, the echoing corridors, the scent of stale air. It all felt strangely comforting. It was a grounding experience, a reminder of his roots. He closed his eyes, listening. The city's heartbeat pulsed around him, the rhythm of the trains, the distant chatter of voices, the quiet strumming of a lone busker. These were the sounds that had shaped him. Opening his eyes, he noticed a young girl playing a battered violin. Her clothes were worn, her face etched with familiarity. He saw in her a reflection of his younger self. Her music, though hesitant, held a spark. Leo walked towards her, his heart filled with purpose. He dropped a bill into her open case. As the girl looked up, Leo smiled. "Don't ever stop playing," he said. "Your music matters." and with those words he walked away, melting into the crowd. Somewhere, a young girl's violin sang a little louder, inspired by a chance encounter.